wasn't as fast yet, but it was good for me to, just get an update and overview for myself on where I am on like which character to go for next, basically. You want me to share like game or the Excel file or
Whichever one you want.
you could
You can just share
start.
your screen and you can look at both.
Oh, that's true. I gotta get out of combat here.
Um, the last time we spoke, you were making 2 brand new characters, if I remember correctly. So
No, I was focusing on. I'm really wanted to get my main to 1620, like most people, I guess. And I struggled on which characters to make my main 6. And I play a lot of Bards, but I'll show you. We do a lot of these now, so I can see how that can be confusing. I'll start with Lost Ark, and we'll see.
oh no, I mean I got the other video pulled up on the side. It looks like the last thing we had you doing was actually making new characters.
No, no new characters. I didn't want
Not
to
even
make any new
included.
characters because I have plenty of them. But I retired the artist, took the gems from it, and moved up a bard. I had this bard at 1575, got it to 1580. Got the
We
sharpshooter.
didn't make you like a new pally or something like that.
Nope. I have a new-ish bard that I'm not touching yet. Waiting for kind of a pass for that, I think.
There's really no added value
So my main was
1540 to 1560 other than
like
hard morale, I think.
1595 or
And
something.
then that's
I
it.
don't
And then
remember
you went.
exactly.
No, you were 1602 on the main.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it now and I'm watching it. I just don't. I thought, for some reason, I thought you were the person that we were making 2 more sports on, but you're not. You already have a roster of 6.
Yeah. It is a while ago, and you've done a lot of these in between, so I can see why you would kind of mix them up a bit. No, my goals were to get my main to 1620, my paladin to 1600.
You did it though. Look at 1615. Let's go.
Yeah, but I am out of everything.
It's okay. You got a month left.
Yeah,
More than enough
I
time.
have 0 of everything, but I'm just putting everything into him now, or for the main, because this one's still missing weapon, and it's just below. I need 1 tap on the weapon, I think. And then this one has a bunch of saved mats. Actually, can I just move that over, or is it just sharing Lost Ark?
It's just sharing roster. You have to cut the stream and then share screen instead. So you just share that monitor and then you slide stuff on top of it that you want.
Yeah. So that would be screens and that one. Go live. Yeah, so I saw the other guy, and he had a kind of a nice structure for it. So these would be my main 6. And finished. I think this one has like a couple of million shards. It's quite clear that this one's going to be the next one after the paladin, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I even started tracking these, but I got tired of it because they're pointless. And you were so right about the shards, because my main's already, I already use about 300k bound shards on it. I only have
People
416k left. So.
people know the math relatively well, because we live in that generation where everybody knows the details, but they don't really understand them. And
Yeah.
that shard concept, it's like, imagine we have an ecosystem, and at the beginning we need leap stones and stuff because you only have 1 or 2 mains per roster, 2 characters at 1580 per roster. But then they give us that nerf, which makes it easier.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden everybody's got 3, 4, 5, 6 characters at 1580, which increases the farm rate overall for the economy, which makes the leap stones go down, right? But when the leap stones and all the other materials become cheaper because all the whales have already made it to where they need to make it to, and now the average player base has a relatively good farming pool, meaning we all have a bunch of alts at that range. What happens is the materials go down in cost, and when the materials go down in cost, the only thing people end up coming up short on is the thing that's kind of the time-gated thing to make sure you have to farm a certain amount, which is honor shards. So then honor shards automatically have to become a bottleneck again because we have too many of the other materials, and it doesn't have to. Like, you could just wait and play the natural order and not cater into it, but people always end up buying the shards they're short. Oh, I'm only short a million or whatever. I'll buy the million shards. Do you know what I mean? And I'll just make
Yeah.
it to the eye level now. So it's just one of those things. That's why I still believe in the array bot on that concept, even with the bots, because the bots only botted the fish. And the reality of it is that the bottleneck I was looking at way back when was between 1620 and 1630, or 1582, 1630. So we're not even there yet. Like, the average player base is barely hitting 1600 right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 1630 will be a pain. I have some people in our guild that's going for 1630 now, and
Imagine
I
pitying.
I don't even
Yeah.
want to think about it.
So
Yeah.
it's because it's the end game, but it's
Yeah.
so I'm happy that
No,
you're
but like,
noticing it with the shards, especially on your main.
yeah. No, but after we did the video, it's been so much more fun to play.
Yeah.
And I've been playing a lot more, but it feels like everything I do has a purpose, and I can like see the long-term effect. So I
Well, it's
play
funny that you said
more or
that
less
because
unrested on these 6, and
yesterday we
it's
talked
just,
about that.
yeah,
Was it you that I said that to? Wait a minute. Was it you?
I don't know. But I mentioned it because I've been playing like apparently way too much, but like 160 hours, like 80 hours per week roughly.
Was it you that
And
said the third eye thing?
no,
No. Okay, so I said that to somebody yesterday.
yeah,
I said some cheesy shit like the person. Most people need to see their end game goal. Not saying that's you.
yeah,
For them to be able to reach it. If they can't see it as palpable, they won't even try for it. They'll give up. Which is what you're basically talking about. Is that you didn't have. I'm not saying you gave up, but I'm saying that you didn't have a structure with an outcome at the end of it that you could see, like the light at the end of the tunnel. So what did you do? You stopped going down the tunnel. The
yeah.
and
If we hadn't talked about that, I would be touching these. I would be honing like the artist probably, and maybe like tapping the gun lancer every now and then, and just wasting gold, and
well,
because
keep in
they're not
mind
gonna.
that you do still have that 11560 up top you could get eventually.
Yeah, I
It
mean the
doesn't
gun
hurt.
lancer will probably eventually come up, or the artist. I don't know,
It doesn't
but
hurt to get more 1580s. I hate to say it. Like,
yeah.
I've been looking at my account recently, and I'm kind of contemplating not doing the 1620, and actually trying to get more 1580.
You will benefit so much from that because
um,
I'm already like missing leaf stones, and I mean the rest of them are going to go up as well, and might as well be able to do more rested guardians, right?
it's the end game, right? We're there
Yeah,
for a year easily. So even if it takes a year for them to get the value back in farming, like it doesn't have to necessarily be gold value. Even if it takes a year to get back the funnel value,
yeah.
which it
Because
won't.
I was kind of getting, I wasn't depressed about it, but I was a bit sad when I started retiring these guys, but I couldn't keep up. But they're in a prime position now
After you
to
get your
come
1620,
up to
there's nothing.
1580, like eventually.
After you get your 1620, there's nothing stopping you from touching those characters.
After I
Because you
get
knew.
my 1620, I suddenly realized that I can actually make 1600 on a couple more.
Oh yeah, easily.
Probably this
That
one
one
and
immediately.
maybe
You
this
could probably
one.
do that one now. The 1588.
Yeah. It doesn't have full set yet, so
I'm just saying, like, you probably, like, it's like right there.
yeah.
No, I
It's
mean,
in a
this
good
is really impressive because, like, on the video on the side, you had 1600 on the main. So to have you at 1615 being one tap away from, like, come on, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I got the weapon. I need one more success on the weapon as well, so it's not the most expensive parts left, fortunately.
So what are you thinking?
I'm thinking I'm gonna keep doing this until I'm no, but it's like because I love farming, and I've been doing alongside this. I've also done Plekia all the way down to right here. So all these have done Plekia, and I'm trying to get my roster level to 300 as well. It also makes me less inclined to spend money on the game because I can just farm and do other content and then wait for like the next day and get more bound stuff. Because if I didn't do all the side content, I'd probably just buy gold eventually and try to keep tapping.
I agree.
But I saw what happened with you when you got your sidereal drop and you ran out of shards or silver or whatever it was.
Silver, yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, gold is nice, but it's kind of dangerous too if you don't have the rest. You're gonna like run out of something eventually. So
All of the early day guilds of the game hated me because I would call the kids out in the guilds for RMTing, and they're like, "You can't tell that," and I'm like, "I can tell that. Like, you're running out of
yeah,
every other material except for gold. Like, you fucking bought your gold.
yeah,
It's a ratio." And it's funny because when you look at like the actual breakdown of like if we took a chart, which this is doable, from the beginning of the game to now where we ended up, you'll see that you always farm just enough gold for whatever you're gonna need, gold, raw gold wise, right? And you're always gonna come up short all the other materials. So that's why my entire plan the entire time we've been playing the game was make up the other materials somehow.
yeah. You can't really buy gold to hone with. You'd have to buy like gems for it or something. I would assume.
What do you mean?
No, but if I have a huge excess of gold, if you put it into honing, you're gonna run out of everything else, like shards and silver.
Mm-hmm.
But if you buy gems for it, you're good, I guess. So you
Assets.
could just
Yeah, you know, it doesn't have
yeah,
to just be gems.
no,
Cup
but stuff that you can like long time keep.
use. Yes, that's also why I
Yeah,
buy all the engraving books. Granted, now I'm doing it just to complete the fucking catch all the Pokemon. But I mean, at one point it was actually really helpful. Just having a bunch of different level 12 engraving books allowed me to use any types of jewelry combinations I wanted.
I hate the engraving books. They're just taking up space. I'm trying to save the legendary ones for if they ever one day release another not class engraving, but what's the other one called? Combat engraving for support. Then I'll have a bunch of books for it, I guess.
Got a nice
But
little
right now,
library.
it's normal.
407 of the blues.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with them. I read all the blues already, and all the purple ones almost, and most of the legendary ones except the expensive ones. Just nice to complete stuff. This side with the
So,
mats are kind of empty though.
what do you what do you want to do here then? Because I mean, you're kind of the thing about what's awesome about you understanding our first session so well, and this
Oh,
is
I
what
watched the
sucks.
video so many times. I watched it
Did you really?
5 times just
Can I ask
to
a
make
question?
sure that I remember
Did
correctly.
you learn
Yeah,
different things rewatching it? Like, did you pick up on stuff maybe that was said that you didn't kind of fully get the first time, but then the second time it made more sense?
yeah, yeah. I think so. Especially about like because you were talking a lot about putting stuff aside and splitting it up into different characters. But I've only always been so focused on pushing my main because I think that's fun. But it really helped. Like, so no, you need to be like a bit cautious with the main. If it doesn't have any leap stones and some other character actually does, so you can tap that. Doesn't matter because it's still in the plan. So,
Well, it's that concept of, are you gonna play the game for a year? Like, are you still gonna be playing it a year out from now?
yeah.
Uh, do you, do you understand the math well enough to see that one main character, if you put all the energy into it, eventually keeps getting bottlenecked? Right, that concept we're talking about right now with gold. I got the Sidereal. Eventually, I ran out of stuff I needed. I started running out of blues on characters. Like, you do hit bottlenecks. So, and then
Oh
there's
yeah.
that third concept that kind of me and Wilden kind of argued over. He doesn't get it because he was like, "Oh, those alts won't return value for over a year." That's fine. You're going to be playing the game for a year. It's not about returning the value. It's about building more value. It's like your business makes $1,000 a month right now. By adding these two extensions, I now make $1,200 a month. Now I make $1,400 a month. And yeah, you're only doing a little bit, but the point is you can't just go open up a new business, a second store, right? Which would be like pushing your main. So because you can't do that, what can I do to bring in that little bit of revenue right now that I can? And then the fourth concept there is that does that investment take away from your ability to push your main character. So going for 1620, does pushing those other characters to 1600 stop you from being able to do that? The only time it ever stops that character, that main character, from moving forward isn't based on materials, because the materials are always based on if you're actually farming the main character's content. It's always based around gold. So if you only need 300,000 on average gold to get the character from 1600 to 1620, then that means all you have to do is make sure that whatever you put into the characters now, you will get back by voldis release 300,000 gold
Yeah.
to be able to do. Yeah, so it's just all those
That's
concepts
also
kind of come
like,
together.
I mean, that's also for a future plan. Like,
You
I'm
will
kind of
eventually
saving
push the
gold,
Sork
but
and stuff.
I
I hope you
should
get that.
probably. Is it? Do you think it's smarter to get 1600 on more characters, or to put aside gold for elixirs?
Oof. I mean, did you watch the elixir? I actually can't stand elixirs, so I don't think
Yeah,
elixirs for the first. It depends. I mean, for the first 2 to 3 months, I really do think it's whale bait. But
yeah.
after
Oh
that,
yeah,
I mean,
really pushing them. But I'm more of a sensible person. I would do whatever I get, and kind of be happy with that. I don't want to
that's the thing. Even if you're not
overdo it from
buying
the
it,
start.
though, even if you're not buying it, right? And that's the crazy thing is that selling them is the option for like people who want to make the gold off of it. But even if you're not selling them and you're using your own and you're not buying them and you're doing it the humble way, which is what I think you're getting at, the
Yeah,
RNG is just so bad that you could just still end up blowing gold on it. And I'm not like that's what sucks about the conversation with the epic ones. Going for epic is cheaper, is what I said in the video. But the reality is it does. The whole system altogether just sucks. It's just a shitty system. So I mean, it's up to
yeah.
you. I think that's a
I
personal.
was gonna skip the epic ones, but I realized that's not possible for all characters.
No, not if you
Uh,
want to get even your main character. To get your main character their full elixir for in the first like month to 2 months, you're gonna have to use some epic ones. Like you're not gonna have a choice. You can't use all legendaries. Like you won't be able to make them fast enough to get a complete set. Do you know what I mean? Even
yeah,
the whales, we're gonna see them running around with a couple of purples because they just have to for the first couple of months. But to answer your question, I don't know, man. This is tough for me because honestly, what I'm learning by doing what I'm doing right now is the 1610 across the board would be the most useful for the coming year because that's how long we're
hmm
gonna have with it, right? So 1610 would be the most useful for a funnel, but getting more 1580s is now what I'm contemplating because more 1580s is actually because we're in that end game for a year. The more 1580s you get now, the better the funnel you ultimately have, and the less reliant you are on the market. So if I could
yeah,
get another 1580s behind my main six, that means I don't care what the hell happened in the economy. I have the farm, the in-house farm, to push whatever character I want over a period of a month to 2 months every single month, guaranteed.
I think this one would be higher, but I pitied 3 items or something, and I was like, yeah, okay, we're gonna have to wait because it doesn't have any mats left, more or less.
Does that make
But
sense
now
though?
I've been,
Like
yeah, well,
for 1600, all you're getting is so. Let's say that elixirs are a scam, and let's say that I'm wrong in the video, and the epic ones are even more of a scam, and you should just wait for legendary. Why would you go for 1600? Like that's kind of what I'm getting at is I'm realizing that 1580 is like the 1490 of this range, right? It's like the perfect spot to just leave an alt if you're going to focus the main, and that's kind of where we're at. Is a point where we should be focusing the main. Again, I'm pushing for 1610 to maximize the funnel because I see that I can
yeah,
see like the light at the end of the tunnel, but I really do think like perspective, I'm getting 4 more stones if I push for 1610s for 300,000 gold, whatever it is, on all those characters. I'll get. Actually, I already kind of just answered my question, but I'll get 4 more stones per clear, right? Per guardian clear. Whereas if I get
yeah,
another 1580 for the same cost, probably cheaper with the material costs and stuff, and I have a larger funnel in that range. Actually, I have like 18 characters in that 1490 range that can funnel one character at a time, right? Easily get the materials. The point I'm getting at is getting more 1580s. Every 1580 I get would be giving me 8 stones compared to the 4. So me getting a
yeah.
1580 and more 1580s for the same price as
And you'd
getting my
be able to
characters to
run them rested
1610.
as well.
Exactly, and I'd be able to run them more rested, capitalizing on those concepts that I teach in the video. So you see where I'm going with this? I'm not saying that that one main character is not a good idea to push to 1620 to whatever, but because we're in that main character phase, it might act like in your situation because you have all bards. No, get those characters to the top levels because you just transfer the gems and you get your content done, right?
Yeah,
So you're
yeah,
gonna make more doing that. But in someone's situation like mine, where I have all different characters, or anybody really for this matter, I do actually think that the better value is to just get more 1580s on your roster because we're going to be here for a year. And think about it. If let's say I spend the next 4 months instead of going for thaemine, right? Instead of pushing any of my main characters, I spend the next 4 months getting more 1580s, right? And then by the time we get there, I have 12 1580s. Just hypothetically speaking, let's say I had 12 1580s. At that point, I would have enough bound materials farmed on those main 6 characters just by playing the game to probably get a natural 1620 right by that point. But then in addition, I have a larger funnel at that point too. So whatever I am at, 1630, 1640, 1650 will be easier ultimately.
I think it would be fun to go from being more of a normal mode player to a hard mode player from start. Not on all characters, of course, but just keep the main at that space.
Then you just get your 6 1580s and that's it. If that's really
Yeah.
what you want, you could even do it now. You could stop pushing that Bard. I wouldn't because of how efficient your roster is, but you could do that now. You only need 2 or 3 alts behind your main, and then you just take
I
all the
think I'll
materials.
get it to 1620, and then I'll probably keep honing it rather than getting
Working
the
on the
other
alts.
to 1620. I don't see any of my friends getting more than one 1620 in any foreseeable future, so I'm not worried about that. It'll be a lot of normal mode groups to join.
And that I think
Uh,
that'll be super efficient. I really do. If that's
yeah,
what you end up choosing to do, I think that'll be the most efficient route because we're in a one main phase where we're at 1580 up is in one main phase for a year, for easily a year. That's the crazy part.
yeah, but I see. Like we will probably we're gonna get like an express thing with Soul Eater, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Probably, and then I could push this one and whatever character could use that pass as my next 1580s once I'm done with this. Because I'm not gonna keep pushing, even though this orc has tons of mats. This not doesn't work for me. I think
I
I'm
would
too
push it if it's geared
weak.
because you could get Sonneville.
Yeah, I guess, but that would be definitely to park it at 1580.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
We're at that point where it's like, again, I'm not gonna re-explain it. The concept is you could go, you're about to go put 300,000 into your main. You already put
yeah,
300,000 into your main, right? And a bunch
yeah,
of bound mats, I'm sure. The like chests and stuff. That 300,000 you just put into them probably could have got you 2 more 1580s, which right now in the next month won't really help you as much as just getting the 1620, right? But in the next 2 months, it probably would have overlapped and passed the concept that we're doing now, which is push 11620 versus.
yeah,
I know it's
yeah.
hard to
I'm
kind of
gonna
like
keep no, but I'm gonna
conceptualize,
keep
but
pushing the main up to 1620, even if I should probably spend the gold on this one right
no,
now.
I know, because
Uh,
your goal is the
but
1620. It's just perspective. Not right now,
yeah, but
Susie.
I'm really seeing what I mean, the benefit of having multiple, because as these came up to 1580, it was so helpful.
Yeah, it gets easier.
And it's so nice to see them start getting bound of the radiance,
Just for
because
perspective, real
then I
quick too,
know it's going to be so much easier.
and you'll see this in the video because I'm gonna flash it on screen. But I'm gonna pull up max roll because I just wanna. I don't actually know the math here, but I know it's the same concept that I've been doing the entire game, so it's kind of how I know it works.
Hmm.
If it wasn't for rest bonus in this game, this ideology wouldn't work. But the rest bonus is the only reason why this concept works so well. With the upgrade calculator, right? Especially here, because again, we're in the end game. It's only because we're in this weird state. So to go from 1600 to 1620, it's 449,000 gold, which is crazy.
Yeah.
To just go to from 1580 or 85 to 1600, right? Yeah,
Hmm.
it's about 170,000 gold, right? So to go to a 1620, it's 620k golds from 1580. So imagine I parked my main at 1580 and started working on alts, right? Just for shits and giggles. Let's say I didn't push any of these
Hmm.
characters, which is probably about 1,000,000 gold now at this point. But we'll say 600,000 just for one of them, right? Because that's what I'm doing
Yeah.
too. I'm pushing one. Then we go back to the old set, which I know you can't see this, but um,
I'll follow.
we'll go to the old set. Let's say I have 1540 characters, right? Which is what, plus 15, I think? Yeah, plus 15. Plus 15 to plus 19 cost 190,000 gold, so I could have got 3 more 1580s instead. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So now let's say that sets me back for voldis. This is actually what I should have been doing, and I'm probably going to do this now that I'm looking at it like this. Let's say that sets me back on voldis. That's fine. So now I don't make it to voldis hard mode. I only make it to normal. Big deal. But now at voldis, instead of having 6 1580s, I have 9 1580s. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
So I just not triple, but got half of my production. I added 50% of my production to the top for Guardians that I can do rested as we've established, right?
Yeah. Shit, I should also get more of them. I
It's just
realized that.
it's listen. Everybody should. Okay, so the best roster right now is 24 1580s because we're in that stage. That's unrealistic.
Yeah.
So now we tone it back and we say
Oh,
what's more realistic, right? Well, we take a look at
Only a
the top
crazy
end.
person would do that.
How much
Yeah.
how much of a reward, right? Because we know elixirs are a scam. How much of a reward are you getting for pushing to 1600 or 1620 comparatively? So from 1580 to 1610, we get that one guardian rate, right? Let's talk about that. You get 4 additional stones, but we just said for a fraction of the cost, you could get 8 additional stones by just getting another 1580. Okay, scratch that.
Yeah.
Now we'll talk about the chaos dungeon. Right now, you can get 1600 as the max chaos dungeon or 1620 when it comes out. But when you look at the farm rates, wouldn't I just be better off getting a whole additional 1580 to just send the rested materials and reds and stuff to that character instead? 100%. 100%. How do you know that? Because a 1580 rested character is going to produce more than your unrested 1620 character, right? How do I know that? Because it did it in the past. It'll do it again. What was will be, right? So it's just that concept. Like, actually, I'm really kind of regretting now doing what I've been doing, which is pushing the main 6, because I'm thinking like I probably could have brought up more 1580s and just had a better funnel. That's what I'm going to do now, actually. I will totally sacrifice voldis. I don't even think it's worth it now that I'm looking at it. You're not getting enough of a reward in the 1620 pool, so for the next, 6 months until we get thaemine, there was nothing in this little span of time that was really worth it, right? Another little bit of fun perspective, right? Let's just pull up a calculator really quickly. Right now, it's 8 a day if I did unrested. 8 times 6 for the Guardian, right, for Sonneville. 8 times 6, because it's 8, you get 8 stones, 6 characters a day, and then we'll say times 7. I'm producing 336. So imagine I could have added 50% of that, right?
Yeah.
Which is 168, and I'd be at 504 instead. So by putting that time into them, I'd be producing 504. Now let's say I went all the way to voldis with it, right? And I didn't do anything, and we'll double the number. So instead of 336 for 6, we'll have 12 characters by that point, right? And it's 672. With 672 being farmed in a week, right? Because that's a week. 672 a week, I think, is what that is, right? Let's do the math real quick. It's 8 times 6, but it would be 12 now because we have 12. 8 times 12 is 96 a day times 7. Yeah, it's 672. What was I forgot what it was. But it's like 6,000 stones to get to 1620 or something like that, right? From 1600. So
sounds reasonable.
In 10 weeks, you could
Probably
farm
a bit
that.
more.
In 10 weeks, you could farm that with 12 characters. It would take you 20 weeks with 6 characters. Do you see what I'm getting at? So just by putting in that 4 to 8 week investment period, it's crazy. But even though you put in that 10, let's say 10 weeks, you put in a 10-week investment period to get these characters to 1580 like you did your main 6. And then what's crazy about that is you end up in the exact same place 10 weeks later at your 20-week point that you would have ended up if you didn't do it at all. See what I'm saying?
But you have all the 1580s.
But you have all the other 1580s on top of it. No, we're only doing the stones, so that's why nobody's ever really gotten this. But it's like, if you're not going to play the characters, great, fine, don't do this. If you're not going to play the game anymore, great, fine, don't do this. But if you're somebody who's playing the game, you're playing at a reasonable amount, capitalizing on rest is the most important and most beneficial thing that you could possibly do in this game. And the best part about this is you'd be doing this rested. You could easily throw an additional 1580s on top of this, and then it just triples your production. But granted, time frame wise, I don't think you'd be able to do it in the time frame, but because of the goals, right? We'd have to do that breakdown too and figure that out. But we also just showed that it's more efficient. How do I know it's more efficient? Let's go take a look at the math. We already know that the cost is double to get the 1610, right? Getting you the 1610s, so we'll get you an additional 4 stones, right? This is what's funny. So remember 672, right? Because that was that other number. Yeah, 672. Now we're going to do 6 characters, and we're going to give them the 4 stones from the 1610 dungeon instead of the 8, right? So I already know the math on this, but 6 times 12, because 12 stones instead of 8 per dungeon, right? Times 7 is 504. So it's like 100 and something less for double to triple the gold. Do you see where I'm going with this?
70 less or something.
Yeah, like 100 and some change less.
Yeah.
No other 1580s, no other reds being produced, no other materials being produced. Can't capitalize on rest. You have to do this completely unrested to get this benefit. you see where I'm going with it? It's like I hate to
Yeah,
say
but
it, but you're
this
helping me with my plan right now. Like I'm probably now just gonna
no,
be
but
pushing
you're
1580s.
helping me as well because this means that the paladin he's going to 1600 when he has the full set. That's easy. The third character could also easily
You're already
get to
there.
16.
You might as well. Yeah.
The rest can just chill, and then I can put that aside and get more 1580s.
Or put it into the main. And that's what I'm saying. You're at that point where you get to make that decision. I believe if you're playing 50, 40, 50 hours a week, yeah, you should be getting more 1580s. And again, only
Yeah.
because this is an argument that I made in all the other videos back at the other ranges. The only range I didn't make the argument, I think, was 1370 to like 1460 because we were constantly pushing for Vault and Vicus Clown, right? But
Yeah.
this time the massive difference is that we're actually in this elongated range, this 100 eye level range for probably a year or more.
There's
Easily a
all.
year or more. Let's say
I mean,
Voldice comes out
technically, we could also get a honing nerf. That would kind of change
to
things
make the
up.
1580s easier to get. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
because
100%.
if you have a bunch of characters stacked with mats and ready to go to 1580 by then, that would be like
Better.
amazing.
Well, then you're saving gold, and that defeats the
Yeah.
purpose of putting the gold in now to get the value now. You're not wrong. I got my 61580s, and then the next week they released the shard nerf. Did that stop me or slow me down? No. It just means that the people
No.
behind me already got it easier. Being at
Yeah.
the being behind, you're right. Being ahead, you're wrong. If I'm ahead and I stay ahead by continuously doing things like this, then no. Then no. These are the reasons why I'm ahead. Is because I keep putting resources into different characters as I'm climbing up on my main characters, waiting that natural farm time. Does that make sense? Kind of.
Yeah.
If you're behind, yes. If you're ahead, no. And you're ahead, so I don't think so. You're way ahead. You have a 1620 basically.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to hitting that last tap. Let's just say it's really, really fucking expensive now because I have to buy everything. Basically, not everything, but like leaps and
Back on that
grails.
concept for a second. If Voldice is in December, and let's say Thaemine comes out in July, because I doubt they'll do a 4 month release, that'd be scummy. But let's say they did 6 months, right, and it comes out in like
Hmm.
June, July, then the next piece of content that they release will probably be another 6 months out. So you're in this range for a whole year. If we did the whole math like I just did with the stones for just a week, and we did it for a
Mm.
whole year, the rate of production that you're going to have having more 1580s is just through the roof.
Yeah. No, I should like right now stop buying leaps, even if I want to get the main
Yes.
to 20.
yes. Yeah, you have
I
a
just
month.
they're so expensive and just put that gold into
You need what,
like
2,000
last.
2,000 to 3,000 more stones on her?
Uh, I don't know. It's a lot.
You can't be that
Depends.
many. It should be like 2 or 3K.
It's so. I mean, every tap costs a shit ton.
No, that's fair. I'm just saying like the two again, all the more reason for the average player definitely not to be doing this. But
Yeah.
the 2 or 3K shards that you're short, I think, or leaps that you're short, I think if you just stopped buying them and farmed the Sonavils into the characters and sent everything to that character, you'd be fine. If it's honor shards you're short, that's different. That's completely different. You have to actually grind those with the new Chaos Rift, and you might have to buy them, but they're cheap right now.
Yeah. Well, I found groups for my sharpshooter as well now, so now I have pre-mates for everything again. And there's probably going to be room for another bard. So I can just keep. I should really slow down on the honing right now and farm again.
You might be in a farm
Even
phase. Yeah.
Yeah. Even because we're saying like what, 6 weeks roughly?
Mm-hmm.
So whatever I had before lasted me like a month, and then if I farm for like a month and then start honing again the 2 weeks before, then I should hit everything quite easily, probably.
That's what I'm
And
thinking. I
my
think you have enough bound materials, especially if you hit a couple one taps.
yeah, I mean I could spend the gold I have now on well this bard and maybe like one of these, depending on the mats.
Based on your spreadsheet, the Sork has the best chance of making it to 80.
Yeah, but I don't want to play it, and it
Oh,
doesn't have
well,
any
never mind
gems.
then.
So, this one has event gems like 7s and 8s, and this one has event gems level 5. So they could just exist as farmers. And then when I get another event, then I'd probably put it on this Bard because it will already have gems. Or maybe the Sork if it's allowed with a 1560. Because then I can just speed through it. That's the hard part. What the level limits for the next Express will be. Because I really don't want to make a new character. I never again want to make a new character, at least not on this roster. I just want to use the ones I have and make sure they have a good solid foundation before I apply the pass even. But it's unrealistic that we'll get something that I can use on a 1560, right?
I think so.
So
The last one was
yeah,
1415. I'm sure the next one will be like 1475 or something.
that's why I'm keeping the Bard at 1485 because I'm thinking like 1490 is probably going to be the top end of where you can use it. So if it's 1485, it's definitely going to be able to use a pass.
So how are you
Hopefully.
feeling? What do you want to do moving forward? Because you got a lot of information there, and you're in a much more complicated state than last time. Meaning,
Yeah,
like the directions you can take are a little bit broader this time.
to be honest, I think I'm gonna like hold off on the top 5 for a bit. Just gather con pieces and bounds. But use more of the bounds that this one has so far and see if I can get it close to 1580 or 2 1580. Because after that, I can decide if I want to push more up here or if I want to get another 1580. So the 1580, like doing Sonneval is super easy. It's like doing Discaluda. So it's not as annoying as the monkey or whatever we had before. Because now I'm actually doing my guardians most of the time. You see here, this one's fully rested because I don't like this one anymore. That guardian. The rest, they're just doing their guardians basically. So more 1580s is probably a better bet. Also, if I have more tradable leap stones, I can help my girlfriend out and give her some.
1580 is definitely the better bet.
Yeah. No, that's actually a great idea because she's not quite as far along as I am. So she's going to need a lot of materials. And if I can help her farm, then I'd have more raids I could do with her. That's good. That's a future-proof plan, I
It's
would
all
say.
about that in-house funnel. That's it.
Yeah.
And again,
I
you
gave up
don't
on
have
my
to do
second
that.
roster completely
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there's just no time.
There's no time. That's why I stopped doing the jump start because I'm like, dude, I don't have the fucking time in the week to jump on this. I just didn't.
No, I was almost when you said in the video like, wait, maybe there's a point in like making a character there now just because it's close to the merge, and I'm like, yeah, for someone who needs another character or needs something that they can't farm themselves, sure, but for me that made no sense.
Well, actually, I actually didn't even mean it because of that. I meant because we're closer to the merge, making it now means that they'll get integrated faster, which means that they'll be able to buy like books cheap. Like they'll be able to get stuff in surplus that they can't get on their server from our server.
That's true.
That's why I said
But
it. Like you could
don't
go
you
make
think?
two
Do
characters
you
right
think?
now.
Do you think they'll keep giving the Jumpstart servers benefits even after the merge, like extra
That's
stuff?
the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
I
I don't
hope
know.
they do. I hope they do. At least bound stuff. I mean, so people don't just use it to drain. No, that would be a nice thing to do, I guess. No, but I mean, yeah, I pretty much you kind of changed my opinion, or not my opinion, but my plan a little bit. So I'm gonna push less on these characters now, but play them in just as much probably.
It just I've been having this argument, right? I'll call it that, a lot,
Mm.
like the last couple of days relatively, and last week or so, and last couple like weeks really, because we've been having this conversation about elixirs since the podcast, right? So
Yeah,
because I'm deeming them so non-valuable, and then so is the rest of the community from what we're seeing in this general consensus, and they're deeming it unvaluable for different reasons because they think the system itself is a scam. And I don't think it's a scam. I just think it's an end game system, right? Which makes it not a scam. It just means that it takes some time. But because of this range, of 1580 to 1620 is just there's no real fucking value in it other than being that guy at the top, like thaemine ready, right? Because there's no
Mhm.
real solid value coming from it. It just feels like pushing one main phase. You're better off having one character there just so you can take advantage of the new content that comes out. Yes, but then anything beyond that, it just feels like anything beyond 1580 is kind of just a straight up waste. And again, that's why I'm really probably not gonna push the other 1610s. Like even now, just saying it out loud because I think I'll get more value by getting more 1580s on my roster.
Yeah. No, I'm like looking at these and thinking, okay, I get to 1600 and I need to get to 1620 basically, or 1610 at least, and then I'm going to need tons of mats and gold. And if I have a bunch of characters feeding them, it's going to be so much easier.
You avoid the market problems. That's why I like the
Yeah.
funnel method, because if the market goes up, great, I have more to sell. If the market goes down, great, I just use my own materials.
Hmm. Yeah. I think it was probably a good indication when my roster storage for mats was empty. That means farming
Stop
is
owning.
probably what I need to focus
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
So,
As
yeah,
soon as you
no,
can't hit a threshold,
I'm back in farming. It's nice.
as
It
soon
feels
as you
good.
can't hit a threshold, you're in farm phase.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
you
right,
did the whole threshold video, so
I'm gonna end this
I
one,
yeah.
because that
Cool.
was pretty good. Bye, guys, and